Hi, folks. Good to join you again. This dispatch is a reflection on some of the conversations I've had over the past week. And what's been popping up numbers of times from a variety of places is this question of, quote, going back to normal. And a lot of pastors I've talked to have expressed some concern about their congregations going back to normal and a fear that this is going to happen as we move out of this post-COVID world. So I've been thinking about that. And as I was reflecting upon it, I was reading the other day the BBC News. And in one section of the BBC News, they had a set of photographs of folk in the UK who are celebrating, in a sense, coming out of COVID and the lockdowns. And the celebrations that I was seeing in these photographs were actually people celebrating going back to normal. They were sitting outside in restaurants, talking to each other. They were gathering in pubs, having a beer with friends, and were kind of dancing in their seats because they were going back to normal. And as I looked at that, I realized that going back to normal isn't all that bad. And there's a lot of good things to be able to say we're going back to normal. At our house, my wife and I are looking forward to the time when friends can come into the house and sit at the table and we can go back to normal. So when I think about this and this concern that's being raised by pastoral leaders and others, fearful that their congregations are going to want to go back to normal, I'm going, well, there's something else going on here. It's not just simply that desire to return to something normal, but it's something else. And I wonder whether over the past 15 months or so, that what's happened to us through these lockdowns, through these not being able to gather with people, whether at home or at our churches, that what's been going on, surprisingly, is that we've been encountering all kinds of people in ways we would never have expected it. We've been discovering the other, if you will, right in the midst of lockdown. And in point of fact, uncertainty and unpredictability has opened up all kinds of new pathways and relationships and encounters we would never have expected. And so I'm wondering whether this fear of going back to normal is really not actually the issue, because a lot of our people will want to, quote, return to their Sunday worship. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not inappropriate at all. Some are saying we're never going back to that. We're meeting in groups and homes. Well, yeah, that's great. But the going back to normal is not really the issue. I think part of what's going on is that in the midst of the return to certainty and predictability and manageability, there's a fear of something else being lost, which is that in the uncertainties of the lockdowns, in the being removed from the ability to manage, we were also opened up to relationships that we never could have expected. So rather than fear the going back to normal, I wonder whether, and I can't get into it here, the real question is how we invite our people, whether in small groups in homes or whether in church buildings, to reflect upon and have conversations about the kind of encounters and stories they've had in these spaces of uncertainty that they couldn't control. And if we begin to dwell in those kinds of stories and invite our people to reflect upon them, then perhaps some doorways open up to asking, how do we continue living in that space of uncertainty and unmanageability? Because it was there that some incredible, exciting, and energizing things began to happen. So just some thoughts at the end of the week out of conversations we've had. God be with you.